Look out in the street there. You know what you don't see? My car, because I had to sell it to pay the lawyer I hired when I got busted for drunk driving. Know what else you don't see? My girlfriend, who decided that a guy with no car and no license and no money was no fun. And hey, you know what else you don't see? You don't see me leaving for work in the morning, because I missed so much time with court and everything that I got fired.
Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Sports professor Rick Horrow, 15 to watch for this week, 15 to 1. Number 15. More than ever, colleges are looking to play regular season matchups overseas. Earlier this season, Georgia Tech beat BC in Dublin and California beat Hawaii in Sydney. Michigan State currently exploring its options to play a basketball game against USC in Greece. Athletic Director Mark Hollis noted that timing and other issues are to be discussed, but the idea is, in his words, moving forward. The conversations have picked up a little bit on planning. As you can imagine, it takes a long time, he said. The AD tried planning a 3-city, 4-team barnstorming event for next season, but was called off due to logistical challenges. Michigan State was set to be joined in the tour by North Carolina, UCLA, and Texas, and as schools such as MSU to continue to earn increasing amounts of revenue from TV, media, and apparel, their options to travel abroad for brand-building showcase events expand as well. Who'd have thought that college football would be a prime growth opportunity across the pond? But kudos to creative marketers and athletic directors. That's number 15. 14. Social media incredibly important for teams, leagues, and what you might call athlete corporations. Knicks star Carmelo Anthony become one of the most active voices in the NBA in regard to social divides. Now, Melo's bringing fellow players on board, urging them to speak up and use their star power as pro athletes to help right injustices around the country and the world. Dwayne Wade, Kyle Korver, Chris Paul, and Anthony spoke in a video where the league and its players continue trying to address the divide in many communities throughout the country. The video features images and graphics of multiple interactions with children, including one where uniformed police officers play street ball with them, and ends with Celtics players linking hands and arms in a show of unity. Wade, Korver, Paul, and Anthony narrate the video. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver recently spoke about his desire for players to remain standing for the national anthem, hoping the NBA avoids the divide the NFL and other leagues are currently experiencing. Obviously, the First Amendment alive and well, especially as a contrast to this turbulent, debilitating election rhetoric. But the issue should legitimately only focus on workplace limitations and standards. That's 14. 13. The Detroit Red Wings getting a new arena, and the Pistons looking into a new home as well. Little Caesars Arena expect to open in less than a year, and talks have continued between the Pistons and Olympia Entertainment on moving the team to downtown Detroit for 17-18 season. The move just speculative at this point, with no timetable set on the decision moving forward. The potential deal complicated by the fact it would involve the reshuffling of the entertainment and broadcast rights portions for both sides, which is usually an exhausting process, as we know. Any Pistons relocation deal also requires formal approval from the NBA and from Detroit's Downtown Development Authority, which owns the new arena and must sign off on any modifications. And if the Pistons ultimately make the move, the team would not only benefit from a state-of-the-art facility, but would avoid paying for it. At the very least, the new NHL arena should give the Pistons some leverage in assessing its long-term alternatives. Fan-friendly suburban Detroit versus a further commitment of downtown development as well. Number 12. Ali Sports, the sports division of a massive Chinese e-commerce company, Alibaba, is taking another stake in the professional sports world. Ali Sports set to invest $100 million over the next 10 years in an effort to popularize rugby in China. The cash used to set up the first pro rugby league for men and women across the country. And a massive mass participation program will be launched in 10,000 universities and schools in an effort to attract 1 million new players over 5 years. Alibaba holds a 40% stake in a few teams, and the Tigers are currently the league's most valuable team. Ali Sports hoping for a similarly lucrative result with its rugby venture. The more valuable international franchises become over time, the larger the positive ripple on American sports values, even rugby. That's number 12. Number 11. Booming sportswear company Under Armour reported slowest quarterly sales growth in 6 years. The Baltimore-based sportswear makers saw its sales slow due to the underwhelming performance of the North American market, its biggest one. Under Armour still exhibited a net sales growth of about 16% last quarter, but that number comes well under 20% that they've been accustomed to. The bankruptcy of Sports Authority, a significant UA customer in July, didn't help the company's sales either, nor did its billion-dollar long-term outfitting deals with top college programs, which are beginning to impact profits. On the other hand, the Wall Street Journal noted the apparel sales increased 18% to about $1 billion for the quarter, led by growth in men's training, women's training, golf, and team sports. The bottom line on UA's bottom line, it's not smart to bet against founder, chair, and CEO Kevin Plank, who's putting the right infrastructure in place for the company to be a $10 billion brand and counting. In addition, UA is growing its diverse portfolio, athletes, international outreach, baseball sponsorship, and the like. All of it's good for sports, especially the leverage for retail wars, teams, leagues, players, coaches, and the like. That's number 11. Number 10. Hedge fund manager Chris Hansen personally trying to bring an NBA team back to Seattle. He wrote a letter to the Seattle area officials offering to privately fund a new arena for more than $500 million. His group needs to prod the Seattle City Council into changing his mind and giving him part of Occidental Avenue South for the arena, and Hansen viewed the foregoing of up to $200 million in municipal funding as a necessary step as well. His group of co-investors includes former Sonics president Wally Walker and retailer Nordstrom's co-presidents Peter and Eric Nordstrom. Opponents of the plan stated that a new arena would threaten freight mobility and jobs, as well as worsen the already bad traffic in the SoDo district. But aside from attracting an NBA team to the newly proposed arena, Hansen hopes to bring an NHL team to town as well. He's offering the city a sweet deal by, in essence, assuming all risk. Taxpayers, many of whom were rabid Sonics fans back in the day, should recognize this and give him a shot. The NHL and NBA should both be interested in the Seattle market, given its previous support of minor league hockey and NBA basketball as well, a large corporate base, a significant population growth, so look for Seattle to rebound, as it were, very shortly. Number 9. Merger headlines currently dominated by AT&T's quest to acquire Time Warner and what is about an $86 billion takeover, what it would mean to the media business and consumers. But equally important in a smaller ecosystem is Dick's Sporting Goods acquisition of bankrupt Golfsmith for $70 million. Dick's plans to keep about 30 Golfsmith stores open out of 109, and they already operate their own golf chain, Golf Galaxy, so the remaining Golfsmith stores would likely reopen under that brand. For consumers, clues to what benefits from this tie-up might lie ahead can be found in bookseller Barnes & Noble's 2011 takeover of Borders. B&N is the largest retail bookstore in the U.S., 641 stores, that's a lot, but almost exactly the same footprint as Dick's, which has 649. B&N's acquisitions have resulted in lower prices, more choice, and convenience for customers, including such benefits as same-day delivery. And while Dick's already offers customers perks, look for the benefits to rapidly accelerate within their expanded golf space. Expanded access and economies of scale are really good for golf. The Tiger Woods on-course evaporation has led to the uninformed commenting that there is golf's demise in the near future. That's cynical and really untrue. And look for Golfsmith's evolution as an example. Dick should blow this out into a larger consumer brand that reflects ongoing support of the sport. That's number 9. Number 8. MLS and USL are booming these days, expanding consistently year over year and adding new franchises all around the country. And they're doing so at the expense of the NASL, according to Soccer America. Both the Tampa Bay Rowdies and Ottawa Fury have announced their departure from the NASL for the USL, and Minnesota United is joining MLS as an expansion club. The three clubs' departures would reduce NASL membership to 9 teams, but the league is adding SF Deltas as an expansion franchise next season. Both MLS and USL have indicated a coordinated approach similar to the first and second divisions of top-level soccer all over the world. And like every other pro sports league, having multiple leagues representing multiple levels of play is only going to grow the game in the long run for fans and for the next generation of players alike. That's number 8. Number 7. The weekend return of the World Series to Wrigley Field for the first time since 1945 focused on the compelling nature of baseball in a major market. One of the significant reasons why the average value of MLB franchises has increased to over $1.3 billion, a 59% increase over 3 seasons. But in another major market, Yankee Stadium, set to undergo its first series of major design enhancements since the ballpark opened in 2009. The construction set to begin immediately and will be ready for the next season. Upgrades include 7 new social gathering spaces as well as food and additional beverage areas, costing the Yankees an expected $20 million privately funded by the club. And one of the biggest additions will be Sun-Run Kids Clubhouse, set to be installed on the ballpark's 300 level, a nearly 3,000 square foot area in Yankee Stadium's first ever children's zone, and including a mini baseball field. Team also adding MasterCard Batter's Eye deck, locating on the 200 level, an AT&T Sports Lounge in Section 134, Budweiser Party decks in 311 and 328, featuring shaded standalone bar areas. Facility enhancements such as these are, as we know, besides stellar pitching and hitting, the best way for improving the game day experience for fans and strengthening the Yankees brand for generations to come, whether the Red Sox fans like it or not.
Look out in the street there. You know what you don't see? My car, because I had to sell it to pay the lawyer I hired when I got busted for drunk driving. You know what else you don't see? My girlfriend, who decided that a guy with no car and no license and no money was no fun. And hey, you know what else you don't see? You don't see me leaving for work in the morning, because I missed so much time with court and everything that I got fired.
Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Number 6. New York Giants and the NFL recently came under heavy scrutiny from the media members in regards to their handling of the Josh Brown domestic violence scandal. The kicker, placed on the commissioner's exempt list following domestic violence charges, finally released as a Giant, and team president and CEO John Mara rightly is second-guessing himself and his organization for failing to grasp the implications of what this would likely mean to re-sign Brown to a 2-year contract earlier this year, according to Newsday. Brown's lengthy history of domestic violence has come front and center ever since the Giants tried to give him another chance at keeping his career alive, and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell did not speak to Mara or anyone else at the Giants while Brown's investigation was going on. Mara owned up to the mistakes, saying, quote, "Our beliefs, our judgments, and our decisions were misguided, and we accept the responsibility." And the Brown incident is one of many factors cited by fans in a growing decline in NFL viewership. To preserve the brand, though, the NFL has got to give even more credence to the balance it maintains between the world's standards and its own. That's number 6. Number 5. Coming as a surprise to few, the Cleveland Cavaliers championship rings are the heaviest NBA championship rings ever made. The Cavs awarded their 6.5-carat, 400-plus diamond rings on opening night against the Knicks in front of a standing room-only crowd. Each ring set in 10K white gold and 14K yellow gold. The phrase World Champions displayed along the top and bottom bezel, and each letter is framed with diamonds, including the 216 diamonds to represent Cleveland's area code. Unbelievable expense, and the ring features the traditional Larry O'Brien trophy. Owner Dan Gilbert also purchased championship rings for more than 2,000 employees, everyone from security guards to hot dog vendors, sparing no expense for the franchise's first title. NBA Finals MVP LeBron James led the Cavs over the Warriors, as we know, in the finals last season, earning him the top spot on our annual Horrow Sports Ventures MVP Index Power 16 ratings last year. That's number 5. Number 4, the NBA started its 2016 season with a ratings bang, the opposite of the NFL. That opening night game was headlined following by the Warriors taking on the San Antonio Spurs. TNT drew a 2.4 overnight rating for the doubleheader, marking its best figure for opening night since 2003, despite stiff competition from Game 1 of the World Series. And despite the Warriors getting blown out by 29 points, the game drew a 12.4 in San Francisco, San Jose, Oakland, the Bay Area's best figure for a TNT regular season game on record, dating back to 2003. Next up for the NBA, the suggested D-Day of December 15 to allow players and owners to opt out of the system. Unlikely, though, given unprecedented labor peace and up to $9 to $11 billion of annual revenue to be shared by both sides. Look for ongoing harmony, stability, superstar promotion across the league, and a deal by Turkey Day. That's number 4. Number 3, incomprehensible civic support. Chicago gets its first World Series home game since 1945. Ticket prices at Wrigley Field before 3 and 4 game losses were compared to Super Bowl tickets, but they weren't the most expensive seats in Chicago. DNA Info gave us some insight. Wrigleyville bars were charging up to $250 per person for indoor seating during games. Other bars were charging comparable amounts for drinks and buffet, but it wouldn't even guarantee you a seat. To guarantee a 4-seat table, $500 extra at bars like Old Crow Steakhouse, Deuces, and the Diamond Club in John Barleycorn. And most extravagant package in Chicago we could find, HVAC pubs, $1,250 for all-you-can-eat pizza and wings, plus beer, wine, and seating for 6 during the game. A bottle of Grey Goose and champagne thrown in. Wow. Apart from bars charging excessive fees, many charge to cover a $50 to $100 for standing room only space. I was outraged by this monopoly situation, said one Cub fan. But when a mega event like the World Series comes to town, many businesses stand to capitalize, a key reason why cities continue to bid on such expensive undertakings. When I was at the series in 1908, I sure didn't pay that amount. We'll see what happens to the Cubs if it's an ongoing dynasty, but that's the beauty of the World Series. You never know. That's number 3. Number 2, the matchup between the Cubs and Indians, the longest championship droughts, demand for in-game advertising, of course, as well. According to Ad Age, all the guaranteed units sold out well in advance, about $560,000 for a 30-second spot. Sponsorships included Taco Bell, Anheuser-Busch, Samsung, Chevy, Geico, and the Lincoln Motors new sponsorship as well. With pro sports viewership numbers down almost across the board, the value of live mega events to sports sponsors can't be overstated. Reality TV at its best. The World Series always must-see TV, but crowning a series champ for the first time since either 08 or 48 respectively interests everyone. And that's number 2. Finally, number 1. Ahead of Tuesday's first college football playoff rankings of the season, now in its 3rd year, pandemonium and parity rule the Big 5 conferences. And with 4 unbeaten teams vanquished on Saturday and 2 new teams joining the elite, all conferences well represented. But only 4 berths to the playoffs, somebody's going to be shut out. Many of the coaches, however, are not. Rising revenues in college sports. Football coaches getting paid more than ever. 36 of them earning $3 million or more, up from 9 in 2011. These coaches have more bargaining power than ever and are using it to guarantee their pay. In 2011, 15 coaches guaranteed buyouts of $8 million. This year, 33 guaranteed that much. Jim Harbaugh leads the list at over $9 million, rounding out the top 5. Nick Saban at $6.9 million. Ohio State's Urban Meyer at $6 million. Oklahoma's Bob Stoops at $5.55 million. And Florida State's Jimbo Fisher at $5.25 million. More important in the real world, though, a new NCAA policy financially rewarding schools meeting academic expectations for athletes starting in 2019. Long overdue. I'm Rick Horrow, the sports professor, with your 15 to watch for this week, 15 to 1.